I, as a engineer, or engineered, however you say it, I'm really good with numbers. People, a little less so. Back in college, I met a girl. She was my next-door neighbor in our dorm. Lisa was something. She was beautiful. She had big, captivating eyes, an infectious laugh. She was strong, smart, and albeit my height, she was the starting point guard for the varsity women's basketball team. Now, this year, the team was pretty good, and they eked into the playoffs. I thought this is a really big deal. I've never been to the bonus round of any sport. So their first postseason game was to be an away game at top-seeded Babson. It would be the Tufts Jumbos versus the Babson Beavers at Babson. Now, I didn't know much about sports, but that didn't stop me from coming up with a somewhat sketchy plan to make my intentions known to this amazing woman and to all the world as the official Tufts mascot for the big game. I would be Jumbo the elephant. Now, Lisa worked in the sports information office, so when I called the Tufts sports information director, she somewhat overenthusiastically arranged for the official Jumbo suit to arrive at the game with the equipment manager and a nondescript black trash bag. Shortly before halftime, I donned the suit and padded over to the small Tufts bleachers section, and I did the only thing I ever saw Jumbo do. I thrust my arms out to the side, and the section erupted with a resounding T, U, F, T, S. Well, that was my full repertoire of mascot moves. So I padded over to the end, and I tried to watch the game. Now, there's a bit more to this rig than you might think. The body was basically a really thick, warm, plush, sleeper footy pajama with big mitt hands. But the head was something. It was like a giant Bosu ball made out of hard fiberglass, covered with carpet, with big ears and a long trunk. Inside this thing was like a sensory deprivation unit. All sounds are completely muted, and you can only see out these two small cutouts that are about a foot from my face. To see anything is to swing this giant head in the direction you're trying to peek and kind of scan back and forth. So as play continues, I'm trying to watch the game from the corner, and I spy Lisa at times out on the court, but we never make eye contact. The entire team is just completely dialed into the close game. So as time expires on the half, I rush out on the court to high-five the team as they run into the locker room, but the suit doesn't let you see who you're high-fiving. I just confidently told myself, surely Lisa saw Jumbo is here. So now it's halftime. I'm in the middle of the court, and they have some loud music kind of blaring, and I'm trying to dance in the suit as best I can. And out of nowhere, there's this deep thud, and the large head kind of takes me for a little ride. So I turn to the Tufts section, and now I'm far enough away that I can kind of see the entire Tufts section, and they're all together yelling something at me, and they're all together pointing over my shoulder. So I turn to where they're pointing, and through my two little spy holes, all I can see is fuzzy brown. So I take a couple steps back, and as my luck would have it, there stood the Babson Beaver. Now, in my defense, the Babson Beaver costume was far simpler. It was basically like, the traditional gorilla suit, except, fuzzy brown and had a little tail. So this beaver's got his hands up in the air, and I don't know what to do. I play along. I put my big mitts up in the air, and I kind of stomp my feet like I'm going to charge, and poof, he just disappears. There's the Tufts crowd, again, yelling something and pointing over my other shoulder. Thud! The giant head rolls. I kind of wander in a circle looking for the stupid beaver. There's the beaver, waving his hands. I wave my hands. I stomp my feet. Poof! He disappears again. Thud! Anyway, this dance goes on for another minute or so before the entirely overheated Jumbo padded over the bleachers, took his head off, and took a seat. The rest of the night was rough on many levels. The Tufts Jumbos wound up losing the game by a pretty large margin. I had to drive back to campus with my buddy James, recapping the humiliating time a small woodland creature beat up an elephant over and over again. And when Lisa got back to the dorm where we'd already started a post-game party, I found out she never saw Jumbo. teammate told her about Jumbo at halftime, but Jumbo was gone before she got back out on the court. But the night was young. We talked for hours. She told me all about what it was like being out on the floor battling Babson. I told her about being out on the floor battling the beaver. And I told her that night, the official Tufts Jumbo was there for her, to cheer her on. Now, I don't know if this is what you wanted to hear, but we were dating after that. Actually, we dated for 7 years, and I'm happy to say we've been married now for 22 amazing years. So, if the beaver taught me anything, it's certainly that most of life does not go to plan, but love is absolutely worth putting yourself out there for. Of course, if you ask my buddy James what we learned, he'd tell you, there is no mascot at away games. Thank you.